Welcome to Primetime, everybody. I'm your host, Hunter Chambliss, and tonight we are doing part two of our horror summer series for the 2010s. Last week, Doctor Sleep advanced, so now we have a new 32 brand new movies, and we have some interesting co-hosts. And let's start off with Chad and Carrie. How's it going, guys?
Going great.
Going great. Hopefully, we don't have too much of crying baby, but right now he's satisfied with the bottle.
Aw.
But yeah, excited to have some guests for another bracket we're doing today.
Yes, and speaking of our guests, we start off with John Marr. How's it going, man?
Going great, Hunter. Thanks for inviting me. I do check out your show every now and again, but it's cool to
Aw.
be on it. Yeah, it's great to be on it. So I'm happy to help you rank your movies that Chad will present to us, I imagine.
And we have Mr. Steve Mesa. How's it going, man?
Good, man. I believe I'm making my my prime time debut here, so it's nice to be debuting here on such a lovely channel with such lovely people talking about such lovely movies. Always down for the eyeballs, guts in, and all other stuff that comes out of the human body when it comes to horror. So, that's all about me. That's Mr. Body Parts over here.
All right, Chad, please explain how the summer horror series works.
Absolutely, yeah. So we've been doing brackets. I had an idea because I've sometimes been on, and I believe Steve and I don't know, maybe John and Hunter have both been on over at the Movie Hero Network where they do brackets all the time with Austin and Jordan. So I was on there. I love the tournament fight series that they do, and I was like, you know what? This would be a fun way to show our love for horror movies and to try to answer the question on here. With just us three, but then adding some more voices every once in a while of what is the best movie, or at least what we think the best movie might be of any given decade. And so far we did the 2020s. The winner of that was The Invisible Man, such an incredible film. And then we split the 2010s into two parts because I was like, I think we need to do the actual 64 film bracket. So we broke it up into two parts of 32. The first half, Dr. Sleep won, which was really incredible. It came down to Dr. Sleep and Hereditary, and I think both of those movies on any given day could be the best of the 2010s. But we have a whole other half to do now, a whole other list of 32 to go through, and any one of those could make I have some ideas of what might end up making it, but it's not just us three today. It's 5 people today, which I thought would be a great way to add more voices and to see if that maybe even, we won't know because we haven't done this side with only 3 people, to see if that, maybe changes what the potential winner of today could be. And then at the very end, we will take the winner of this bracket, and we will pit it up against Dr. Sleep, and we will go around and say, what's better, Dr. Sleep or the winner of this?
The winner of this movie.
Yeah. So how the bracket basically works is we're just going to go down the line. It's a straight up this or that. Carrie, Hunter, and I have all given like 10 or 20 movies each, and then we threw out some counseled and threw out some combined choices that we thought are extra bonus ones that should be on to fill out a complete 64 film bracket. So this one is 32 of those. I randomized both, and then combined them and then randomized them again. There's a lot of randomization going on. And then I used that to actually create these matchups. So we don't know what we're going to get here, but I even kind of forgot what the matchups are. I'm sorry, but it's long-winded, but I just want to make sure everybody's in the clear about what we're doing here. So we're going to go through each of these matchups. We'll go to you. You just tell us your opinion of each movie. If you want, you don't have to say anything. If you don't want, you can say a lot, whatever you want, and then you just pick one or the other. And then if you haven't seen it, you can say I haven't seen it, but I like that, or what you guys are saying about this one movie is really cool. So there you go. I think that one might be the better one, or whatever. So and then when we get one, we'll move it along, and then we'll keep going until we get one film. So that's how it works. And did I forget anything?
Did you mute the tab?
Oh, so we've been having issues with ads in this tab. So let me.
I did already.
Oh, okay.
You muted it in there. How do you mute it in the actual area? Was it here?
Yeah.
There's a thing that said like
Oh, it's
unmute and
already
mute
muted.
audio.
It's already muted on the.
I'm gonna get you a great ad blocker for your shit. You'll be fine. I'm gonna hook you guys up at the end.
Thank you.
There we
All
go.
right.
All right, so let's bring up the brackets. There
All
it is, right there.
And we're going to start with our first thing, and we can probably just do it the way they do it after the movie Hero, and just kind of start with Hunter, go down, and just we'll figure it out. But the first matchup is, let's see, I don't the sizing needs to be fixed. We have Anna and the Apocalypse versus Brightburn.
Ooh.
All right.
All right, so we're starting with me.
Yeah, let's do that.
I gotta go with Anna and the Apocalypse. I just think this movie it's so much fun. It's a zombie comedy musical. It's got some great gore, some great songs. Overall, just like a really fun movie to watch during the Christmas season, especially if you're looking for kind of that Christmas horror type thing. This one is like my go-to.
Perfect. Did you say anything about Brightburn?
Oh, Brightburn is really good. It's like a what if Superman was just completely psychotic film. There are some pacing issues, I think, but overall, Brightburn is actually really fun. I like Anna and the Apocalypse a bit more fun factor for me.
Perfect. John, what do you think?
I plan for this to be the only time I say this throughout this video, but I have not seen either of these movies. That being said, I do like the concept of Brightburn more. I do like the kind of, what if Superman's origin went completely awry. So I'm going to go with Brightburn.
Sweet. Steve?
I've seen. Okay, so I'm gonna have to go with Anna and the Apocalypse. I think we don't have rarely any horror musicals, big screen horror musicals, and I think this is one that definitely should go all the way. Brightburn, on the other hand, I like Brightburn, but I've seen shows like Invincible and The Boys do it better. So,
all right, Carrie.
Okay, I am also gonna go with Anna and the Apocalypse, mostly because I haven't really seen Brightburn. It's been on in the background when I've the other day my mother-in-law had it on and I was kind of just doing dishes and then went upstairs to nap. But so I'm gonna have to go with Anna and the Apocalypse, and I do really enjoy that movie. I think the music is really fun in it. The dance sequences, it's a really fun concept.
All right, so we have 3 votes for Anna and the Apocalypse, 1 for Brightburn. Chad, which one would you have picked?
Yeah, so basically, I would have went with Anna and the Apocalypse. Sorry, I ran up and down.
My man's out of breath.
But it's also only because I haven't seen Brightburn, so I don't know if Brightburn would have come up, because I don't adore Anna and the Apocalypse. I like a lot of the songs. I think a lot of the songs are really fun. I wouldn't say they're necessarily choreographed well. They're shot pretty well. The zombies aren't really ever convincing, but I guess they're trying to go more horror comedy. But even then, you look at Shaun of the Dead, low budget movie, and those are extremely convincing. And then I'm like, if you compare the two, where they're both trying to do similar things, except the one is a musical, obviously I think Anna and the Apocalypse pales in comparison. But it is really fun. It's got a lot of heart in it, and I know a lot of people adore it. So I do think there's a lot to like in it. So yeah, I'd pick that one for sure.
All right, so Anna and the Apocalypse moves on to round 2.
Move that on. All right, so the next matchup is. All right, I got another thing. Let's go ahead and stop. Oh, I got to actually. Maybe I shouldn't run that one.
So I can. Are you being live?
Chad, you use Chrome?
Yeah, I'm using Chrome.
All right, I'm going to fix this after. You'll never have this problem.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. It's not like this hasn't happened yet before.
No, it happens all the time, so people are used to it.
Yeah, bear with us here. We're live, pal.
John's going to be our hero.
Well, here, I'm going to message you.
Throw it back in there, Hunter, and then we will get on to the next.
Let me mute the tab, and there we go.
All right, so now the next matchup is, this is a good one, Crawl versus Get Out, the Best Picture
nominee.
Come on.
All right, so
All right, Carl, what you got?
are we doing? We're going John. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, as much as I like Crawl, Get Out is probably one, it introduces us to Jordan Peele, and two, a totally revolutionary concept, and three, representation in horror. So, I mean, Get Out curb stomps Crawl at every level.
Absolutely. I'm gonna have to adhere to John's advice here, and yeah, Get Out. It definitely puts the pedigree on Crawl here, and it's a masterpiece. It's like John said, it introduces Jordan Peele as you think, oh man, horror, a comedy guy doing horror. Oh, let's check that out, and just fucking blows the doors off of that shit. I mean, it creates terminology that's become part of everybody's life, the sunken place, and just the cereal, eating cereal without milk, becoming psychotic. That just emphasizes more. And great performances. It basically introduced the world to Daniel Kaluuya, and he's gone on to deliver more iconic performance from Judas and the Black Messiah to now his Spider-Punk interpretation of Spider Across the Spider-Verse. So yeah, I'm definitely have to go with Get Out on this one.
All right, Carrie.
Yeah, Crawl is really fun, but like you guys said, Get Out went I think by a landslide. It was just a revolutionary film, and I know it had a lot of people in my life who don't like horror movies actually went and saw that in theaters. I think it kind of crosses, even more than the horror genre itself.
Chad.
Excuse me. Yeah, like I said, this was nominated for Best Picture, and it's very unfortunate for Crawl that it has to go up against this behemoth of a film. Get Out is really that good. I mean, you've heard all these guys talk about this movie as just a masterpiece, and that's exactly what it is. You love it more and more each time you watch it. It's just so incredible. It has a lot to say, and it's just very scary, just in general. This movie is incredible. It's unfortunate for Crawl, but it might be unfortunate for a lot of movies on this list. I'm very interested to see if this one goes all the way to be our top winner, but we'll have to see. Because the everything's incredible. Lil Rel, TS motherfucking A, we handle shit. So
yeah. So yeah, I'm in agreement with everybody. Get Out is a perfect movie, one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Crawl is a really surprisingly good time. It's a really good suspenseful, kind of monster movie. But yeah, like Get Out is it's a perfect movie, perfect comedy, horror, suspense, action, and it has a really good message behind it too. So yeah, Get Out is moving on.
Yeah, and don't sleep on Crawl, because Crawl is really great. We wouldn't have added it to the list.
Yeah,
great director over there as well.
Alexander
Aja, all of his films, check them all out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right. So we're moving to the next matchup, which is Troll Hunter versus Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Ooh.
This is an interesting matchup, actually. Starting with Steve.
All right, so I'm gonna abstain, because the fact that I haven't actually seen Troll Hunter. So, but what I liked about Scary Stories in the Dark to Tell in the Dark, it's not an adaptation. It's like it's just like something that they just reinvented stories to have basically taking the goose. It's basically kind of taking the Goosebump elements. They're not taking exactly the stories from Goosebumps or from the source material. They're just interpreting in a way where it's kind of reflecting reality or something, and it just the source material is crossing over into the real world. So I'm just gonna go with Scary Stories because I didn't see Troll Hunter. I do mean to try to catch Troll Hunter. It's just with every movie I add to the queue, it just goes to the bottom. So
makes sense. I definitely recommend. Carrie.
Okay. Yeah, Troll Hunter is really fun, and I definitely recommend it. Although I'm actually going to go with, and Troll Hunter is, more of a horror comedy. I'm going to go with Scary Stories. Is it? Is it not? Am I misremembering?
I don't think it's really funny.
Okay, so I'm misremembering, but
there's comedic elements.
Yeah,
there is.
It's definitely not a comedy. It's definitely not.
But I am going to go with Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, just because I think that's a little bit scarier. I think it's a really cool entryway for a lot of younger people into the horror genre, of a younger generation. And I hope that felt like, just like how the Scary Stories books were one of the things that got me into horror. I hope this movie, got and still gets, some younger people into horror.
Yeah, and piggybacking off of that, it's not like House with the Clock in its walls or anything like that. This is actually legitimately scary.
Yeah.
I was watching this movie and I didn't know what to expect because I never really read those books that much, not like Carrie did when I was a kid. But the actual like monsters and the way it was shot, there was just a lot of really scary stuff in it. So for me, as like a guy who does watch a lot of horror. I was still like very impressed with this. But yeah, no, it definitely is a really good bridge for children to get in. But I would say a little bit more of older children bridging on like teenager kind of a deal. It's not like a kiddie movie at all. Troll Hunter, I did actually really surprise me because it's a really fun found footage movie. I love how they build like the lore of trolls and stuff like that. So this is actually for me pretty close because these are very different but very good movies. But I will, for the appeal for making this for a lot, like both like teenagers, maybe older children and adults, I think Scary Stories is the better overall movie. So I'd go with that as well. Hunter?
Yeah, I agree. I've never seen Troll Hunter, so I can't really say anything about that. But Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark really surprised me because, again, as a fan of the books growing up, I used to check out these books at the library all the time and read through them. I think this is a perfect gateway, as they've been saying, to horror. Like maybe if you're someone who doesn't really like horror, give this one a try because it does have very unique kind of settings and kind of fun creature designs. And what's cool about it is it's kind of a mixture of all things. Like you have a little bit of slasher in there with the chases, you have a little monster movie, ghost story. So it's like a perfect melting pot of like all things, horror in the different genres that are mixed together. So yeah, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
All right, John.
Allow me to dissent. As a huge fan of Scandinavian horror as it is, Troll Hunter is definitely like one of the cornerstones of Norwegian horror. If you want to get into Norwegian horror, I would say Troll Hunter is probably a good entry point for you. And given the fact that it is such a low budget movie, they do pull off such fantastical monster effects. I would say Troll Hunter, classified as a horror movie, even is probably it has horror elements. It's more of a fantasy adventure found footage movie with horror and comedy elements. I'll be the only person that votes for Troll Hunter because I love me some Scandinavian horror.
Nothing wrong with that. It's definitely a fun movie.
Yeah.
And I did think the trolls were very scary, so that's why I brought it up as a horror. But yeah, Scary Stories moves on. Please check out Troll Hunter because we love that, including the people who haven't seen it on this panel. Next one is Annihilation versus Don't Breathe.
Ooh.
This is an interesting matchup for sure. All right, so we're starting with Carrie this time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is tough. Like Don't Breathe, I think, is more of the traditional horror movie. Annihilation is kind of, is more
Sci-fi.
of like, more sci-fi with horror elements. But I think I'm still gonna go Annihilation. It is some pretty intense body horror in the movie. And overall, I think just it was a very well filmed movie. Like some of the cinematography is really beautiful, incredibly acted. And I think just very deep and has some interesting things to say about just the nature of existence. Don't Breathe is really fun, and I wouldn't be mad if that is what winds up going on. I think that's an incredible movie.
Yeah, this is Alex Garland, correct? Annihilation.
Yes.
He is just an incredible writer, incredible sci-fi mind. I'm also going Annihilation here. Don't Breathe is a really great movie. I did not care for its sequel, but the first one I think is really good. But Annihilation, yeah, just like on a visual level, like an abstract kind of like experimental in some way, not experimental filmmaking, but like stuff that happens in it's like, wait, what? And you kind of got to watch it again to kind of figure out what that one thing was, and stuff like that. And But when you have like stuff like that bear creature that shows up, it's just, if you've seen it in the theater especially, it's just incredibly frightening when that thing comes up. Just like the sound, the visual of it, and just like everything. It's just like a bear creature that's also has like a screaming person sound that comes out of it. It's just like otherworldly terrifying. So for horror, I would say it really is effective, even though that's not the only genre you can put that in. Although I do think it just has like a lot of really great stuff in that film. So yeah, for its like ambition, I would put Annihilation up there, just a little bit above Don't Breathe. So I would also agree. Hunter.
All right, so on to me. I have never seen Annihilation. I know I fucked up that phrasing, but um, I think even if I did, I think I probably would have gone with Don't Breathe anyway. Only because I think if you look at strictly horror based, I think what's great about Don't Breathe is that it was made in one location, in tight corridors, dark rooms, dark spaces, with a character that it starts off with the blind man you kind of, you know, want to root for, and then you realize, oh no, this dude's doing fucked up shit. And
Oh yeah.
it gets creepier and creepier as you get into the house. Plus, I mean, you have like, great acting from Jane Levy, Dylan Minnette from Scream 5. I just think Don't Breathe is perfect when it comes to always keeping you on the edge of your seat, not knowing what to expect, like around every corner. And again, because of what Fede Alvarez does really well is the tight corridor shots, especially turning the corner and you're not knowing when the blind man's going to show up. So it keeps that anticipation super high. So I'm going to go Don't Breathe.
Hell yeah, John.
So happy I'm here. I think Alex Garland is a pretentious David Lynch wannabe. I probably hate all of his movies. So I mean, Don't Breathe is an easy pick for me here. Fede Alvarez actually is making horror movies. I have seen Annihilation. I appreciate everything you said about Annihilation. I do think that bear is freaking scary. But I think Alex Garland kind of adds like unanswerable questions to all of his movies on purpose, just to be deep, and I find that offensive. Whereas Don't Breathe is just straightforward. It's a straightforward horror movie. Fede Alvarez brings it every single time. I appreciate Alex Garland as an artist, but as a director of films that he's supplying to me to watch, I'm offended. So that's what I feel.
Hell yeah. All right, Steve, break this tie, man.
All right. So do I go with a movie that I saw in theaters that scared the shit out of me, that has horrific body horror and an amazing creature design? Or do I go with the guy that I interviewed for Evil Dead in 2016?
Oh, nice.
I'm going to have to go with the guy that I interviewed. I'm going to go with Don't Breathe just because I'm going favoritism, and you don't see that in tournament fights.
Honestly, I got to say, I didn't know what to expect from that one, because I know a lot of people who love Annihilation, but then, also you have, people like John and others that don't. I mean, it's kind of
the only Alex Garland film I watched was Men, and I'm like, I don't know if I like this or not.
Check
Men is also a movie where it's like it takes off awesome. Then like he adds a bunch of just like ambiguous stuff to the movie, like on purpose, which is kind of weird.
I would say still check out like Ex Machina. Yeah, and then he's written stuff that you love, probably like 28 Days Later. So it's not.
Wow, really?
I think he wrote Sunshine as well.
What?
I believe he wrote Sunshine. I could be wrong, but I think
yes,
so.
he did. I believe so. Yeah. Because
I'm not saying everything he's done. I'm not saying everything he's done is bad. I'm saying a lot of his directorial efforts are like it's kind of like David Lynch. Like I'm trying to confuse you. I don't even have answers planned. You just interpret it however you want, and then people just argue, and the movie gets hyped based on the controversy.
Well, to be fair, I kind of prefer Alex Garland over David Lynch, but that's my opinion.
All right. Moving on to the next thing here. We have Scream 4 versus Us. And we will get to David Lynch when we get to like the 70s and stuff. So maybe even the 2000s. All right. So now we're starting with me, I think, this time, right?
Yep.
This is
Two slashers.
tough because we have one of my favorite franchise, not just in horror, is Scream easily, of course, and I think it's most of ours as well in this panel. But Scream 4, depending on who you ask, isn't one of the best. I think Steve loved this one, but
Spoiler
a lot
alert.
of
That might
other
make it.
people don't really. And us is we just praised the other Jordan Peele movie in this list, and I think it's incredible. I'm gonna go Us, despite absolutely adoring Scream. I do think Scream 4 is like on a seesaw. Like there's some really great stuff in it, and there's some really kind of dumb studio created stuff and whatnot. Like it probably could have been a little bit better had a sole like writer had whatever in it. But there is a lot of really great shit in it. I absolutely love Jill Roberts in the movie. She's incredible. But Us, I just think has like some incredible. Actually, I think I know what John thinks about these as well. Anyways, but I love Us a lot, and I've seen it. Did I see it more than once in the theaters? I know you saw it a bunch in the theaters.
I saw it 3 times.
Yeah.
I think we
I
both
guess
saw it
twice.
twice. Yeah, we
He's
saw it.
hardcore.
Yeah, and I just think like just the concept is incredible. The performances are incredible. And also very funny. Like I like a lot of the fun stuff in it. I think Winston Duke is hilarious in the movie. I think Lupita Nyong'o is incredible, and I would say that she should have probably been nominated for an Academy Award or something like that.
Yeah.
Just because I think horror should be loved a little bit more at the Academy, and I just think she was great.
Represent.
And yeah, this movie also is another one, maybe to a lesser extent to Get Out, but I think this is another one that just gets better each time you watch it. So, and Nope as well, which we featured on our 2020s thing. So I'll go Us just slightly. Hunter.
Whew. My favorite franchise versus my favorite horror director working right now. Damn it. All right, so I think I agree with Chad. I'm gonna go with Us only because I think Scream 4 does a lot of stuff right, but there are some technical issues that I have problems with. Like for some reason, the camera looks smudged the entire time. I don't like the way it physically looks on screen. But other than that, like there are some side characters that I don't really care about, like Charlie and Robbie, which I don't really care about them. I think what Us does very well is it introduces you to characters that you care about and then slowly takes them away from you, whether losing their minds or just getting killed off. I think what Tim Heidecker and Elizabeth Moss are hilarious in this film. The Ophelia scene, it gets me every time. I think what's cool about this movie is that it starts off as a kind of a one like home invasion type movie, and then you realize, oh, it's like a zombie movie. Like it expands outwards to the world of like, oh, this is not just on this one family, but it expands all over the world to other people seeing it. Winston Duke is hilarious. You want to get crazy? Let's get crazy. I love that line so much. I gotta go with Us for this one.
And it has an incredible soundtrack.
Yes.
Yeah, let's just get right to it. I mean, like Scream 4, I think Jill Roberts is like S tier Ghostface, like 100%. Like she's my favorite Ghostface. Like not it isn't even close. Not even close. And to say you don't like Robbie Mercer during Pride Month, Hunter is a false step. You shouldn't do that. That being said,
that's right.
That being said, Us is like a way better movie. Like Us has like so many stars in that movie, and they all bring it. Like even minor performances like Yahya Abdul-Mateen as like the dad in the flashback. Yeah. He's freaking awesome. Everybody like you could tell everyone in Us knew they were part of a really good project, that they're part of a really good script and a really good director. Everyone in Us like, totally cares. The people in Scream 4, they're just in a Scream movie, and it is a great Scream movie, but I think Us is more important, like to the character.
For sure.
So, yeah, Us, yeah.
All right.
I might be the contrarian here. I'm going for Scream 4. Last Wes Craven film. The fuck.
Okay, fair enough.
True.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, this is my second favorite Scream movie. So
Wow.
yeah, so I'm not gonna back down from all. I love Us. But if you're gonna make me choose, I will pick Scream 4 all the time.
I love us too, Steve.
Definitely respect, buddy. We're all Scream lovers here. So yeah, for sure. All right, so we'll move on. Us.
Did Carrie?
Oh,
She's seen it 3 times, basically. I think we know where she's going with it. I'm just saying.
I'm glad I really didn't have to choose. I think I would have said Us. I just think overall it's just the better kind of maybe more important movie. And Lupita Nyong'o just like she blows it out of the park with her acting in this movie. But I really, really love both of these films. Like these are like 2 of my top films for this decade.
Hell yeah. All right. So moving on to the next matchup, we have The Taking of Deborah Logan versus Tucker and Dale versus Evil. 2 very, very different films.
Yeah.
And we're going up to Hunter to start this.
So I have never seen The Taking of Deborah Logan. So I got to go with Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I just think Tucker and Dale versus Evil is so funny in the way that it uses happenstance and accidents in a way where it's just hilarious. Like there are a lot of jokes and stuff that like the wood chipper scene where the guy goes head first, hilarious. Because it's like, Alan Tudyk is so great just in general. Like, because I loved him since Firefly. So, I mean, Tucker and Dale versus Evil is just hilarious. So, yeah, I got to go with that one.
Absolutely, John.
I actually really like The Taking of Deborah Logan, but like, how do you vote against Alan Tudyk? I don't even know how you do that. Fantastic. I love meta horror and I love clever meta horror. And Tucker and Dale vs. Evil might be the first real true instance of like meta horror comedy, like where they twist it around. So I got it. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil is like iconic actually. So I got to go for that.
Steve?
I didn't see it taking the Deborah Logan. They really Tucker and Dale. Even if I probably did, I would vote for Tucker and Dale versus Evil because again, it should be punishable by bludgeoning if you vote against Alan Tudyk, which might be happening later on in the round. Yeah, I mean this what would happen if Final Destination was actually a comedy. That's what would this be?
Yeah, you're not wrong there.
So I'm going with Alan Tudyk versus Evil. I mean Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
I would watch Alan Tudyk versus Evil as
yeah.
Somebody write that movie.
Wait,
all day, every day.
Resident Alien, isn't that already happening?
All right, Carrie.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Tucker and Dale versus Evil as well. It's so funny. It's a really fantastic example of a horror comedy, and like if you love that subgenre of horror, it's a must see. That said, The Taking of Deborah Logan, if you're looking just for like a scary supernatural movie to throw on for like 90 minutes and something you haven't seen before, this is a really great choice. Like it's pretty scary.
Yeah, I'm going to mirror exactly pretty much everything Carrie just said. No, it's a clean sweep. I'm picking Tucker and Dale. But Deborah Logan, I think, is incredibly scary. And it's just like, talks about mental health and all that stuff. The way it's shot's great. And it's just incredible and very off-putting. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Yeah, it's incredible. I think everybody I know loves this movie if they've seen it because it's just so well crafted, just written so well with just how all these kills happen. It's very, very funny. The Alan Tudyk and what is his name, Tyler something,
Tyler Labine.
They're incredible as like the hillbillies who just want to fix up their
they just want a summer home, man,
out and drink beer and fish, and they're stereotyped and everything goes to hell, and then there's a whole other layer to it later that happens with stuff that you find out. It's just really incredible how everything happens, and so funny. And Alan Tudyk, I just love the banter between them, like
the
take
beer.
beer.
After he gets bit by the bees, he's like, "We're supposed to be here to work."
but then like when he's like telling him to stand up for himself and take the last beer, and then he's like, but I'm not letting you have that beer.
I'm not letting you. Yeah.
So yeah, Tucker and Dale moves on because it's so funny and so good. Moving on to the next matchup, we have Split versus
I love Split.
Green Room.
Ooh.
All right.
I love both of these films.
Christ.
Start with John now, I think.
This is a very tough choice.
Yeah.
I'm going to say based solely on the strength of Patrick Stewart. I have to go Green Room because Patrick Stewart as a neo-Nazi gang leader is so against type that he does it so incredibly well, and he never raises his voice. Like he never even raises his voice in that movie. And he is legit scary. And Green Room is real. Green Room's like a real horror movie. Whereas Split, it's semi-fantastic and M. Night Shyamalan's involved. But Split is still great, and James McAvoy is fantastic in Split. But Green Room gets the edge.
Steve?
Dude, this is fucking splitting me up, man.
I see what you did there.
Let me see. So I own both of these on Blu-ray, so that's something. There's also James McAvoy. We have Professor X off here.
Yeah, Professor X off.
But based on our current political climate, I'm gonna tell these guys Nazis fuck off. I'm going with Green Room because this came out almost 10 years ago, and we're still talking about Nazis, unfortunately. And this is unfortunately it's tragedy that turns into horror, that turns into revenge by the time this movie's over. And just there's no celebration, there's no high fives, there's just bloodshed and misery. And unfortunately, and I sorry to bring this down to everybody, to a dour level, but it is we unfortunately have Nazis in the United States, and it's hard to and when you have this movie come out, it's basically reflecting on what's going to happen in the year from when this movie got released from 2016 with the election and everything that's happened in between there. So I'm sorry that I brought this down to a political level, but it's true, and I had to shed some light on that. So, but listen, M. Night Shyamalan's great, but Jeremy Saunier, I think he needs to make more movies. I think he's an excellent. If you haven't seen Blue Ruined, check that out because it's a fucking great movie too. But I'm going with Green Room on this one.
All right, Carrie.
Yeah, this is a tough choice. I think I'm also gonna go Green Room here.
Wow.
I think in addition to the reasons you guys said, it's also nice. I don't know, it's an indie film, and it's just it's just what they did. I think in this film with the budget they had was really incredible. But Split is so good too. Like I always like M. Night Shyamalan, was one of my first scares with The Sixth Sense, and I always love it when he actually makes a movie that's good, like Split is. Yeah, I think Green Room just slightly here, just a little bit of the better movie.
Yeah. So I'll basically say I do think Split is a very good movie. I'm also going Green Room here, but Split I do think people probably didn't think it was going to be good, and then it came out, and then they were like, "Oh, all right," because James McAvoy's great performance in it, and just kind of like the concept is pretty great. I think they made a mistake. I thought it was cool at first, but I thought they made a mistake tying it into Unbreakable. I was like, if this would have just been like its own thing, I think it would have been just like really great one thing movie. And they made Glass, and I was like, I'm not really a fan of this. And then I'm like, this could have been two great movies that you made instead of making this some weird trilogy. But that being said, I do think it's, if you cut out like the post credit scene, forget about Glass, it's still all in all a really cool movie. But Green Room, I just love those types of movies. I love like the whole standoff. You know, they're caught in this like circumstance that they don't know how to get out of, and it's just like a hate group, and they were previously like antagonizing them, but that's what you do, is you antagonize Nazis because they're terrible.
Yep.
And then they have to figure out how to get out. I just love all of the different things that happen. Rest in peace Anton Yelchin, he's great in it. Patrick Stewart, like I said, Macon Blair, also in Blue Ruin. He's the star of Blue Ruin. I love
and what's her name?
Macon Blair so much.
Imogen Poots.
Imogen Poots, yeah.
He's great
And
for
I was
sure.
thinking Ali Schwartz.
Oh, Ali Shaw.
Shawkat, yeah, also great.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. A lot of really great names in it, and adds to why we're mostly all picking it. Hunter might defer here, might go another way, but I love Jeremy Saulnier, and Blue Ruin is actually one of my favorite movies. Not a lot of people talk about it, but I think that movie's incredible. He also did Murder Party, which might come up in the 2000s one. So yeah, he's a pretty incredible director, and I agree he should do more movies, because I think this is just a really cool, like almost like bottle movie, like caught up in a situation they have to get out. I just love Green Room so much. So Hunter, what would you have said?
I would have gone with Split, and only because James McAvoy's performance alone, having to not only convince me that he's 23 different personalities, and he does it so well that you believe it's 23 different people, but it's James McAvoy's acting alone, is incredible. But I like the fact that they tied it into one of my favorite Shyamalan films, Unbreakable, because I like when a movie can kind of like the twist ending that Shyamalan does, but it makes sense. Like, why is this guy, superhuman if he's not in this kind of world where superhumans exist? And for him to be like, okay, let's expand that world and be like, okay, this guy is a part of the Unbreakable universe. I think Glass is okay. I don't think it's one of his best, but I think it's clearly not his worst. But I like the fact that they kind of tied it into one of my favorite Shyamalan films, Unbreakable, and with that and McAvoy's performance, I would have gave the edge to Split. But Green Room is amazing because again, it contains it to one location, and it's a small budget, and you really feel the kind of the revenge plot, the kind of being stuck in one location and having to escape. I love this type of movie, so I'm a-okay with Green Room moving on as well.
Absolutely. And I actually kind of thought this might be a sort of a split decision, but it looks like Green Room was pretty loved. You see what I did there?
I definitely see what you did there.
The other thing I wanted to add was, Hunter, you looks like you're moving now, but you were kind of frozen for a good while.
Am I good?
Yeah, you're good now.
You're kind of good, but I'll let you know if you start
Let
to
me reset and just come back in.
Sounds good. And we'll go ahead and reveal the next matchup. All right, we have Creep versus, get this, Creep 2.
Oh my god.
I did not actually plan this. Like I said, I randomized it, and this, for some reason, this is what happened. If you haven't seen a Creep movie, then just guess what you think might be better, or listen to people talk about it and maybe pick it.
Oh, Creep versus Creep 2.
What a matchup.
It's very interesting. However,
I haven't seen any of these, so
I was just saying, just like figure it out or listen to what people say and just figure out how to make a decision if you haven't seen either. Are we starting with Steve on this one?
Yes.
Yes.
So I actually caught this I actually watched this movie like a year ago back to back. So I saw Creep 1, then Creep 2. So but I found Creep 1 to be more effective than Creep 2. Creep 2, it's built off. It's kind of like a pair. It's like you can't really watch Creep 2 without watching Creep 1. You don't know really getting into it, because if you just watch Creep 2 by itself, it's not, you kind of have to rely on it unless you like just think of it as Henry but a little more jokier and less serious. Basically, it's Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, with more laughs, in my opinion. But I'm gonna go with Creep because I think that's a more unsubtle one. You don't really Joe Swanberg, Joe Swanberg, right?
He's Mark Duplass, right?
It's a Mark Duplass, my bad.
Yeah.
He didn't direct it, but yeah.
Did Swanberg direct it?
It wasn't Mark Duplass. They were both a creative team, but the other guy directed it. Yeah.
Patrick Price. It is directed by Patrick, but Mark Duplass delivers a really fantastic performance in this movie.
Spoilers, by the way. Hunter hasn't seen them.
Hunter, Jesus Christ.
I'm gonna have to go with Creep 1. So,
Carrie?
Yeah. It was funny because a lot of times Hunter will be like, this is like a 2018 movie. And this is 2014. I'm gonna go with Creep as well, the original. Creep 2 is really fun, and I hope they do wind up finally making that third one. But the original is just, I think, a little bit a little bit scarier. Kind of the concept is a little bit more straightforward, I guess. And yeah, they're both really good. Definitely recommend them both, but I think the original just edges out the sequel.
Yeah, I'm actually in agreement here. I thought Creep 2 was incredible for being like a sequel because I love both of these. But it's been a while since I've seen them both. And thinking about like the plots of each, I can't remember. I remember some of Creep 2 and like what it was about, but I don't remember the crux of it. And I'm trying to pull it out of my head. I'm like, I just remember it was like mostly like the two people in the movie. And then the first one was basically also that, but like, just I thought the kind of mental games that were happening in it were like done better in the first one, and it builds to a surprising moment that I didn't expect, and I was like, holy shit, okay, this movie's pretty incredible, and it makes really good use of like found footage, and Mark Duplass is very creepy in the movie. The title is Creep, and I can't wait for them to bring up Creep 3 because they're really good at making these. But yeah, I'd go with Creep 1. Hunter.
So, as someone who has not seen either one of these and had just looked up the plot summaries for both of these films, the one I would probably watch more is probably Creep 1. I like the idea of, just two people, and that's the film. The creepy factor per se comes from, the dialogue and things like that. From what I've seen at least, so I'm gonna go Creep 1.
Perfect, John.
I would say, based solely on the fact having seen both these movies, I am definitely desperately waiting for Creep 3 just because like we need it. Creep 1 establishes the whole, like, I don't want to say mythology, but it establishes the character. So like, I mean, Creep 2 is kind of like if it's going to be a trilogy, like Creep 1's they introduce the antagonist. Creep 2 they're introducing the protagonist. Creep is more important out of the two movies, but they're both great. Creep.
Perfect. All right. I believe we're at the end of the list here. Yes.
Well, the first half.
That's what I meant. The first half.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go to the other side. Let's see if I lined this. Okay, here we go. The end of the thing. Oh, we have the Witch,
Yeah.
Robert Eggers, versus The Purge.
One.
Great franchise there, right? The Purge, or is it? I don't know.
It's iffy.
We're starting with Carrie with this one. I know where she's going.
Okay, yeah. The Purge is really fun, and I think I've only seen one of the sequels. The original is a really cool concept, and it's like really cool that it's now really entered into popular culture as like, an expression.
Mm-hmm.
But The Witch, I think, is just such an incredible movie. It is like the slow burn of that movie is amazing. I love how it ends. I want to get a Black Phillip tattoo, as Chad knows.
Yeah,
so
yeah, Black Phillip.
We're going with The Witch.
Absolutely, yeah. The Purge is great an idea, I don't remember how good the actual first movie is. Isn't Ethan Hawke in it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it's. I think it was a fun movie. We did see a sequel to it at the drive-in.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And I haven't seen many of the other ones because I haven't had that much interest. I think the idea is cool for like a horror movie because it's a terrible idea in real life.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's interesting because it's like, well, we have all this crime going on, so let everybody get it out in like one day, and then hopefully it'll clear up crime. It's like an interesting idea, but it's one of those things where I just don't think it's that well executed as a movie. But The Witch is incredible. I don't think Eggers has ever been able to top it, and I'm very interested to see what he does with Nosferatu because that just sounds interesting. Because the Witch, I think what it does is incredible is that, like Carrie said, it's a great slow burn, but it's also just like very, like he tried to make it like very authentic to like what those times would be. And I think that immersion with them doing the actual, like how people would talk, how people would dress is just really incredible. And it's not the big jump scare heavy movie that a lot of people might have thought it was at first. Because I know my mom and my sister were like, what did we just watch? And I was like, I don't know, but it was incredible. And they did not agree with us. But
yeah, I would say the advertising for it was probably pretty poor because it got people in the theaters because it was advertised as like, oh, the scariest movie of the decade or something.
Yeah. And it's one of those where it's not scary in the way people want it to be scary, like the big jump scares everywhere.
Yeah.
That's what people are expecting, but it's scary in its atmosphere. And if you like can sit there and actually put yourself in that situation, it's extremely scary. And I just think Robert Eggers just crushed it on day one and just hasn't really lived up to it, in my opinion. So this one is an all-timer. I love this movie. Hunter.
So yes, I think the first Purge is actually a pretty good movie. It's a pretty decent home invasion movie. I wish we got to see more of the outside world, which the sequels did show, but then it just kind of became an action franchise. Um, I think The Witch is one of my favorite horror movies of the 2010s. Because like I just saw it randomly on Netflix. Like I didn't hear the hype behind it or anything, so I watched it and I immediately fell into that world that that Eggers was setting up. I think The Lighthouse and what's the other one he
The
did?
Northman.
The Northman. I think The Northman is probably my favorite Eggers directed film, but I think The Witch is it does something to me where it's like it transports you into that world and you're stuck there for like the 90 minutes or whatever. I think Black Phillip is a great like new horror icon in a way because when you think of Black Phillip, you think of the goat and just kind of this zeitgeist. I think the first Purge is a good movie that the sequels really don't do it justice, so I'm going The Witch.
Hell yeah, John.
Yeah, I would say the Purge. Well, if you talked to me 2 years ago, I probably would have said the Purge. The Purge is tonally different from every movie that comes after it. Like the Purge is actually like if the Purge was like a standalone movie, it's a fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the guy who I was 2 years ago, I didn't appreciate Robert Eggers, but then I really came around after The Northman. I went backwards. I watched The Lighthouse again. I watched The Witch again, and they're all fantastic movies.
Yeah,
so I would definitely say The Witch is like beyond awesome. Wouldst Thou Like to Live Deliciously is a fantastic one. And let's just go with The Witch.
All right, Steve.
Would I go see a Robert Eggers film or a James DeMarco film? Also, by the way, I might be the only one, but the first Purge sucked dick, dude. In my opinion.
Wow.
It was one of the worst horror movies I've ever seen. It has a great listen. They established a great premise at the beginning, but the way that they executed it, I thought it was just. I was bored to shit with the tears with that. I mean, the sequels, which much more better. Even the one that came out of Frank Grillo, that one's way
Anarchy?
better. Like if you put the Witch versus what was it, the Purge 2? I'd probably think maybe Purge 2, but you put it against Purge 1. It's the Witch all day every day.
Witch.
Sounds good. Moving on, the Vavitch. All right. Scrolling down to the next one. Happy Death Day
Yeah.
versus
Better be fantastic.
Revenge. A Shudder original, Revenge. All right. We're starting with John.
No, it's you, Chad. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it's me. Oh, okay.
What?
Wait, no.
Wait, isn't it?
Who goes first out of the two of you guys? It's whoever's the first out of the two of you guys.
Hunter.
Yeah.
No, the two at the bottom.
Yeah.
Two at the bottom. Who goes first?
So
Okay.
it's me.
It's
Yeah.
Chad. Chad goes first because Carrie went last time. We talked about getting a Black Phillip tattoo on her.
Yeah.
Oh, true. Very true.
Okay.
All right, so it is me. Sorry about that. Shit. It was actually pretty hard because both of these movies are really good for different reasons. Happy Death Day is like a horror slasher Groundhog Day, and it's very fun. It's one that I didn't think was going to be good when I saw the trailers, and then like when it came out, I was like, wait, I think this is actually a good movie. And then the sequel was good too, and yeah, so it's just kind of like a good little franchise now, actually, where I don't think the baby mask is gonna become iconic or anything like that. But yeah, it is a really cool, like another great film in the style of Groundhog Day that is just really fun. Revenge, I love. I think it's the way it's shot. I love revenge stories, and I think this one is really incredibly done. If I had to watch one of them right now, I'd probably go Revenge, to be honest, because I just think it's so unique. I'm gonna go Revenge, actually.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, on to me. I've never seen Revenge, so I've heard great things about it. But yeah, Happy Death Day to me is a very uniquely done film. And what's great about it is it's a horror comedy, but what's great about it is you get very dramatic moments and character moments with Tree, especially her and her mother and her dad celebrating, her birthday and things like that. You get really great character development with Tree that continues in Happy Death Day to You. I love the unique death scenes that it keeps happening. I like the kind of Groundhog's Day aspect. So it's funny, got dramatic moments, really great kills. So I got to go Happy Death Day.
John.
Another tough one.
Yeah.
Only because I do love me some like non-American horror. Revenge is absolutely fantastic. It's kind of like there's a lot of movies that people are kind of averse to watching. Like a lot of people are averse to watching I Spit on Your Grave and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so Revenge makes movies of that ilk palatable. And that's important because it's a very large subgenre of horror that like people like avoid. And Revenge bridges the gap to make that accessible, and it's an important story to tell. Whereas Happy Death Day, it's not the weakest Christopher Landon film, but I like Freaky a lot better, so I'd probably go with Revenge.
All right.
Steve.
What's the voting count?
2 to 1.
Revenge, 1 Happy Death Day.
Yeah.
All right. Let's tie this sucker up. I'm going with Happy Death Day just because I haven't seen Revenge.
All right.
I do plan on seeing Revenge. I have it on the queue. Like I said, there's new movies that come out. There's unseen movies that I haven't seen, and they keep pushing down Revenge. And
Stop pushing Revenge down.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna add it off my list and then add it back again, so that way it's on top of the queue.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna do that. I promise. That's my promise to you, John. But like, I really enjoyed the premise of Happy Death Day, and I love how there's a Groundhog's Day, a horror version of Groundhog's Day, and they kept it tame for what it was, and I thought the death scenes were palatable for the PG-13 rating. So it's a decent PG-13 rating horror movie that I would watch over and over again.
All right, Carrie, to break the tie.
Yeah, this is really tough. I really love both of these movies, and they're so different. Like, Happy Death Day is more kind of like a lighthearted slasher comedy, and Revenge is pretty intense. I think I am also going to have to go Revenge, though. I think it's just so well done. And like John was saying, a lot of, I want to say, especially older, but a lot of revenge movies like this can be very difficult to watch. I think this is actually very well done, and really focuses on, I think, a little bit more of the revenge part than the setup for the revenge.
It's not like
Mhm.
sadistic kind of, in
Yeah.
the
It's not like a
beginning.
half hour long, like I spit on your grave. It's much more. You can take it on easier.
Yeah, and there's one part of it that is kind of unbelievable, but if you can get past that, it's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right.
You're cool. Okay. Revenge moves on, which I didn't think that was going to happen, to be honest, because I didn't know how many people have actually seen it. So there you go. Moving on, we have The Visit versus
Another Shyamalan film.
A Quiet Place. All right.
Hmm.
Very interesting matchup here, and we are starting with at the top with Hunter.
Very interesting, to say the least. I watched The Visit recently. I think it's a really good Shyamalan horror movie. But if I'm looking at both movies objectively, A Quiet Place does something very unique that takes a gimmick and really like makes it to where you don't want to make noise like at all while watching this film. I saw this movie in the theaters and everybody was like eating their popcorn very slowly to not make as much noise. And that's how you know a horror movie is great, is when it messes with the audience's head where they don't want to make noise, in the movie theater. I think the creature design is fantastic. They look really great. And I also think that the aspect of the family itself is very unique and very, very centered and grounded. I mean, John Krasinski and Emily Blunt are fantastic in this film. The kids are great, so I'm going with A Quiet Place.
Perfect. John?
Yeah, I'd put the opening scene of A Quiet Place up against most of this list. So The Quiet Place is going to win. The Visit is very entertaining. I think Catherine Hahn is the mother, and like all the performances in The Visit are great. But A Quiet Place, the universe that John Krasinski has created in this and in the sequel, it's way bigger than anything M. Night Shyamalan's doing in The Visit. It's like, this is unfair. It's a Quiet
All right, Steve.
I'm going with A Quiet Place because I haven't seen The Visit, and The Visit, when I looked at the preview, it just looked like Shyamalan doing a found footage movie. Like, what's new to this? I know it has Catherine Hahn, and I'm all about Catherine Hahn, but I mean, Quiet Place because this is John Krasinski, his debut film as a director, and he knocks it out of the park as a home run. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of A Quiet Place or Quiet Place Part 2, but for what he tried, what he was achieving with that movie. Especially in the first one, I give him props because that's a hell of a movie to start off with. It's like him and Jordan Peele, actors turned directors, slamming out of the park with these horror films. So I'm gonna go with A Quiet Place on this one.
Yeah, so actually I'm just gonna give it, both me and Carrie also vote for A Quiet Place, even though it's already been decided. She had to go take care of the baby. She will be back, and we can get her thoughts on both of these movies when we come back. If when she comes back, if I forget, someone remind us, and we'll get her thoughts on those. The Visit was very surprising. Very good use of found footage. Is the twist is good. I thought it was really creepy old people. It's kind of a deal with that movie, and it's very very creepy. A Quiet Place is an all-timer. At first, I really liked it, but I didn't love it, and then I was annoyed at how everybody was like, "That's the best horror movie of that year, 2018 or whatever." I was like, "Guys, no, it's Hereditary. That was the best movie of the." But A Quiet Place is very good too. Was kind of my thing. I still wouldn't put A Quiet Place up on the same level as Hereditary, but they're also very different movies. And rewatching it, I think A Quiet Place is incredibly well made. I think Krasinski did a good job. I love not just the concept of the creatures that you can't move and or else they'll get you, kind of a deal, but just like the story of the family. And I'm gonna spoil it a little bit, so if you haven't seen it, just mute for like 20 seconds. Where it's it starts where she makes a mistake and she gives him the her little brother the toy.
Oh, the opening is so sad.
That's what I said. The opening scene of A Quiet Place versus the opening of most other movies, it's berserk. Like the balls on that. Yeah.
And then the ending of this film is even more sad when he's again, spoilers, where
what Hunter's trying to say is John Krasinski's character dies to save his daughter.
Yeah, but like the way that like in this film, everyone's so quiet and whispers, and then the one moment of sacrifice, he screams at the top of his lungs to save his daughter, man. That's the only time you actually hear like a big yell.
Yeah. Your initial thing just got totally cut off. That's why I jumped in.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries. And that's actually the point I was getting to is like when she does that in the beginning, the whole rest of the movie, she thinks that her dad does not love her. She hates her, or he hates her, and he doesn't. He's just mad at her for making that mistake. And then how he shows her his love for her is just so incredible. It like gets to me every single time at a very deep level. And yeah, I just think it's so well done. I think the emotional stuff is great, and I love the sequel. We already discussed that in our 2020s thing. Sorry for the baby.
No, it's cool.
Sorry.
He loves A Quiet Place too.
Yep.
We would not survive in A Quiet Place. But Carrie, I already told what your choice was, but did you want to say anything about these?
Yeah. The Visit is really fun. Like, I think it has some really great scary moments. And like I said, I always love it when M. Night Shyamalan puts out something that's pretty good. But A Quiet Place is just kind of next level. It's just like such an original concept, so well acted. And I think like the scene that Chad was talking about is just so incredible. It makes me cry every time.
Yeah, and if they didn't have that added family element to it, it would have been a generic.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay, the monster, because you came with saying, but it's very, very good. Moving on to the next.
Sorry.
Moving on to the next matchup, we have Better Watch Out versus The Invitation. No, not the new Invitation, but spoiled it. The not the new Invitation. I think that was about vampires or something, but the other one that like
Kusama.
Yeah, that was at like 2015 or something like that. Yep. So we're starting with John, I believe, with this one.
Yeah.
This is another probably kind of close one for me. Better Watch Out is really clever. But I'm a huge Karen Kusama fan. I think everything she does is golden. I think The Invitation, just like the slow burn aspect of The Invitation, where there's no comedy in The Invitation. It is just straightforward, like what's going on, what's up. Clearly something's up. And these people are in danger, and it takes so long for the danger, like the trap to spring, and then it's just like chaos. Whereas Better Watch Out is clearly like a tongue-in-cheek kind of like pay homage to Home Alone. Still a very clever movie, and I do like it. And if they do more with that, I'm with it. But I gotta give the edge to The Invitation here. I watched that not too long ago. I actually started watching that at the very beginning of my self-imposed horror challenge, and The Invitation is probably one of the strongest movies I've watched. So I'm gonna go Invitation.
Hell yeah, Steve.
Well, I didn't see The Invitation. Like I said, I'm gonna push that queue up. Go find it somewhere. So besides that, I did enjoy Better Watch Out. Very unhinged Home Alone movie. And just makes you say, yeah, Kevin McAllister was actually a psychopath. And
cool, Carrie.
Okay. Yeah, I really like both of these movies. Better Watch Out is really, really fun, and it's a great horror Christmas movie to throw on. But The Invitation, I think, I remember when Chad and I watched that. God, we watched it in the condo, I think.
Yeah, it was when it came out, like 2016.
When it came out, yeah.
I think it's probably
so. It's been a really long time, but that movie still sticks with me, and how just like that's kind of like a masterclass in suspense
writing,
and slow burn. And so yeah, I'm gonna go with The Invitation.
This is a very, very tough one. Because both movies surprised me in different ways. Because both movie like Better Watch Out, it's one thing for a bit and then it turns into something else. And then The Invitation is kind of like that, but it's more of a gradual thing with like reveals and stuff like that, and you don't really know what's going on for a while. I just think it's like so well done. Yeah, I'll go The Invitation as well. But it's very tough because Better Watch Out is one of my favorite Christmas movies now. But you guys have definitely reminded me just how great The Invitation actually is, and we need to revisit that because
Yeah,
I
oh,
remember
yeah.
having a really great
Yeah.
time with it.
Yeah, and just spoiler alert: the ending of The Invitation is probably it's top tier. It's a top tier. Even there's a twist on top of a twist.
I really need to watch The
Don't
Invitation.
tell me. La 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 la.
I won't say what it is, but the scope shifts. It's great.
Yeah, I think it is done better and Better Watch Out, even though Better Watch Out is really fun, and I like the performance from one of the or all the characters, but one of the characters in particular is pretty crazy. But yeah, moving on to Hunter.
Yeah, so I've never seen The Invitation. Correct me if I'm wrong. The guy who was in The Invitation was also in Upgrade, correct?
Logan Marshall Green. Yeah,
Logan Marshall Green. Yeah.
Not Tom Hardy.
But yeah, exactly.
Not Tom Hardy.
People call him a dollar store Tom Hardy. Go to hell. Logan Marshall Green. I won't
He's
say
a really good actor.
Yeah.
But Better Watch Out to me, it was again a horror movie that I
Hunter's saying he likes
just randomly watched on Shudder one day. Can you guys hear me okay?
You're good. You're good now. You froze like this, and then you kept going.
Okay. But yeah, Better Watch Out was a movie that I randomly just put on that was on Shudder, and I really had fun because I had no idea what it was. And then the twist happens, and I'm like, this movie is very clever. It's hilarious. Patrick Warburton at the beginning is freaking hilarious. He's great. The kids are fantastic. So I would have gone with Better Watch Out personally.
All right. So that just edged out. The Invitation moves on.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to go on to the next matchup, which is The Babadook versus
Tara's favorite movie,
The Conjuring. I don't know what the hell this is going to be. Scroll over.
X that out.
Boom. All right.
Ooh, The Babadook versus The Conjuring.
And we're starting with Steve.
Yep.
Guys, it's Pride Month. I mean, gay icon Babadook. Come on.
He's got the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, enough said. Move on.
Carrie.
All right, Carrie.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with The Babadook here. I think this is an independent film, and it's Australian.
Mm-hmm.
Australian.
But just like I think like
Jennifer Kent.
Like Tara says in the beginning of Scream 5, just the messages here about grief and motherhood. It is such an incredible metaphor, and not to mention some parts of this are scary as hell. The Conjuring's really fun, but in my opinion, it just doesn't have the same kind of intense messages and the great metaphor that The Babadook does.
Yeah, as Tarek Carpenter would say, I still prefer The Babadook. Yeah, I agree. I think The Conjuring's great. It spawned a whole franchise. I actually prefer The Conjuring 2 to the original Conjuring. Oh, Hunter left for a second, probably. But The Conjuring is really good and spawned that franchise. But The Babadook is an all-timer for me. I think it's one of the greatest horror films ever. I love the I don't use the term elevated horror or anything like that, but I do love the metaphor that the monster is in The Babadook. But every time I watch this movie, I forget just how scary it actually is. Everything so well done, with just like the imagery of this like instant like iconic kind of monster. That you just see like a hat and a coat, and it looks like the Babadook, and you're like, holy shit, this is intense. And the performance from what's her name?
Jennifer Kent.
Oh, no, the performance of the actress.
Essie Davis.
Essie Davis.
Essie Davis.
She is incredible in this movie. Just like her whole transformation. Just the whole thing with her and the kid is often very unbearable because it's like a single mother, lost his dad, all this stuff, and just he's just being a kid, but they really like make it very uncomfortable even as an audience member, seeing what she's going through as the single mother and all this stuff, and it's just really freaking great movie. So I love the Babadook a lot. Hunter.
All right, this one is actually really hard for me because I've only watched the Babadook once, and it's a great film, but I've watched The Conjuring like 5 or 6 times. I don't know. There's something about The Conjuring that you can put on and just watch it and like be entertained, and it does have a great message about the family aspect as well. But if I'm looking at which one is the best horror film, I got to go with the Babadook. I think as a film it's better than The Conjuring, but I've watched The Conjuring more. I will say the kid in the Babadook is annoying as fuck though.
You picked Babadook, Hunter?
Yes.
Okay, John.
Let's make it a clean sweep. I believe the Babadook.
Yes.
I mean, the Conjuring. The Conjuring. I'm gonna put it like just very plainly. The Conjuring is just a one in of many of James Wan's like above average films. He's James Wan is. You want to have a film and put it in theaters and make money. Put James Wan.
Yes.
100%. But that's what it is. The Babadook is Jennifer Kent just showing up on the scene and like hitting a grand fucking slam and like just it's every aspect of the movie. Yeah, Noah Wiseman as Sam. He's an annoying little kid, but that's important. And the performance that she got out of him is critical to the movie. It's everything about the Babadook is perfect. As a movie and as an allegory, all perfect. The Babadook's great. Let's go with that.
Yeah, and the fact that like they don't get rid of the monster, they just have to live with it, just like
Yeah.
They domesticate it.
Yeah. The aspect of you can't really get rid of grief and sadness, but you have to learn to deal with it.
Absolutely. All right, so we're moving up. Babadook moves on, moving on to the next matchup, which is speaking of Logan Marshall Green,
Speaking of Upgrade
versus Rubber.
This one's easy for me.
I knew Hunter would say that. All right. So we're starting with Kara this time?
Yeah.
I thought I just started with the Babadook.
No, Steve did. So
I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pride Month.
Yeah, I think as much as I really do love Rubber, I think it is hilarious and brilliant. I really enjoy that movie. Upgrade, I think, is maybe just a little bit of the better movie. And I just really love, like, this is the movie Lee Winnell directed between Insidious 3 and in the Invisible Man.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how much this movie it's such a great progression.
Yeah.
It's not quite where it's not anywhere near where the Invisible Man is, in my opinion. But you can see that progression in those 3 movies. And in this movie, you can see him just becoming a better director. I think the story here is really fantastic. Like Logan Marshall Green does a fantastic job. So I think I'm going to go with Upgrade. I think it's just slightly the better movie, although I really do have a soft spot for Rubber.
Yeah, no, I couldn't actually agree with Carrie more. She said everything perfectly there. Rubber is much better than what you think a Killer Tire movie would be.
Is it
But it's like it is, but it's so low budget and meta that I just like really just have a soft spot for it as well. I want to revisit it because I think it's just really fun. But Upgrade is also very fun, and it has like a lot of like horror about like kind of AI and stuff like that, and just like exactly what Carrie said, it feels like the really good next step up for Lee Winnell to where we get greatness with the Invisible Man, and I think Upgrade he just like knocked out of the park. Two, I love how all the sequences are directed with the action stuff, and it just moves the camera so like really interestingly. He's like, just give me control and I'll take it away. And then as soon as that happens, it's a really cool like sci-fi horror movie. Logan Marshall Green is incredible in it, and it's just really, really cool and fun and scary. So Upgrade for sure. Hunter.
Yeah, this one is super easy for me. I hate Rubber. I watched it once and I was like, I don't get why people like this movie, but hey, personal opinions. I think Upgrade is the Venom movie we should have gotten the same year Venom came out. I think Upgrade is like 10 times better than Venom.
Oh, yeah.
Logan Marshall Green is fantastic in this film. This film actually reminds me of like a Cyberpunk 2077 movie with like how high tech it is and dealing with like, the the balance of like rich versus poor aspect is really well done. The action is great. I'm going to Upgrade all the way.
All right, John.
Both great. Only one of these movies will ever go down as being a cult classic, though. 20 years from now, children will still be gathered in their basements with copies of Rubber, and they will watch Rubber. So I think Rubber, just for the fact that it is so weird and such a cult, it is like a trauma movie that is not a trauma movie.
This is definitely a troll movie.
Yeah, Rubber, I think, is more iconic than Upgrade, even though Upgrade is fantastic. I think Rubber's going to stand the test of time. I'm going to go with Rubber.
Hell yeah.
What am I not seeing in Rubber?
I think you need to rewatch it, Hunter.
Yeah, we'll do a watch along. Welcome to Primetime watch along with
That would be
Rubber.
fun, yeah.
That would be fun,
Steve.
actually.
What do you say?
Oh well, since I guess Upgrade's going to be winning it, why not just throw my vote to Rubber? Because I mean, I love exploding heads. Exploding heads in movies is like that's it. Rafa Becky, exploding head,
Scanners.
all-time classic. So if there's an exploding head, and listen, what do you remember from Scanners? Exploding head. And basically everything else just fucking falls apart after that. So since Upgrade's gonna win it, I'm gonna go with Rubber because I do think it's funny. It's kind of like an interpretation of an audience watching an audience watching an audience.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that, but I was also entertained by Upgrade. I also like being somewhat of a contrarian sometimes too. So I like throwing some votes to movies that don't get that much love.
All right,
Hell
Chad,
yeah.
you know what? I'm willing to do a Rubber watch along with you
Let's
guys.
do it.
Sounds good. Sounds
please.
good.
Yeah.
All right.
Bring all the beers, though.
Sure. Moving on. Next matchup is Midsommar
Yes.
versus Under the Shadow.
Man, God, you kidding me? Fuck.
Not kidding you.
Wow.
This is the next matchup.
Tear
And
me
we're
apart here.
starting with me.
Yeah.
Me. Oh.
I agree.
Okay, this is weird to me because I don't remember a ton about Under the Shadow. I remember it's an Iranian film, and I remember it being very scary. And I remember it kind of having like commentary about like being like Iranian and like the shit that's going on over there. But I don't remember much else about it. And Midsommar, I really liked, but I don't love it on like the same level as like everybody else who thinks it's a masterpiece. Hereditary is a 10 out of 10. Midsommar to me is maybe like a 7 out of 10, something like that.
Wow.
So I've only seen it once.
We gotta watch the director.
We got to watch the director's
Yeah.
cut. I'll revisit it, but I
You're
don't think it's jumping to a 10 out of 10 for me. But I did really like it. I think Florence Pugh's great. I do like Ari. I haven't seen Beau is Afraid or anything like that.
I need to.
Hereditary is one of my favorite movies. And Midsommar I thought was a little bit of a step down. Although it is really cool that Hereditary is really dark and Midsommar is very light and it's just like horror in the daytime kind of a deal. Even though there's some dark sequences in Midsommar that people don't talk about, but it's a good movie. I think I don't know. I can't even say Midsommar is the better made movie, even because I think Under the Shadow was really cool. But I'm more interested to rewatch Midsommar than I am Under the Shadow. So I'll say Midsommar.
All right, Chad is gonna hate me for this. I prefer Midsommar over Hereditary personally.
I know that you man, that's what
I watched Midsommar like 4 times in the theaters, like
wow.
It's a
almost
glorified
back to back.
Wicker Man.
It is, and that's what I love about it. It uses the Wicker Man formula and just expands it. I love the use of like, again, talking about trauma and talking about like being stuck in not only purgatory, which is, that's pretty much what this festival is, but being stuck in like a relationship that is toxic for you, but you can't leave for one reason or another. There's always something that's always, keeping you connected with somebody that maybe is not healthy for you. I think Florence Pugh is fantastic in this film. Will Poulter is hilarious in this film, by the way, as the douchey friend. I love Midsommar, and I've never seen Under the Shadow, so yeah, Midsommar, it definitely is like a 10 out of 10 for me.
Nice, John.
I don't know. We're talking about the second best Iranian horror film in the 2010s versus Midsommar, which is a juggernaut. Like Midsommar, every time you rewatch Midsommar, like Ari Aster, like actually like edited the film like to the point where it's like you're on an hallucinogen
Yes.
watching the film. Like it's unsettling. There's every time you watch it, you see more stuff. It's everything, Chad. It's everything you love about Hereditary is in Midsommar. You really just have to look for it. I promise you it is there. Midsommar is a masterpiece upon a masterpiece. I think this is another unfair matchup. Midsommar by the distance to the sun.
Cool. Steve.
All right, I'm gonna be the one that vote for Under the Shadows because I was affected by Under the Shadows because it was one of the first movies I saw for. It was part of the slate of Popcorn Frights, which it's going to become its 10th year next year, and it's a film festival that some of my friends from the film community build up, and one of the first films that they put on the slate was Under the Shadows. So I saw that in the darkened theater. I was very affected by it. I think there should be more. I'm not aware there have been a lot of Iranian horror movies, but the ones that stick out the most, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night.
Yeah.
But that movie's awesome. That's you guys listen. You have to have like an Under the Shadows and A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night double feature. Because if you want to appreciate Iranian horror, those two movies are the ones to do it. So I know everybody's gonna vote for Midsommar. It's a juggernaut. Yeah, I loved Midsommar, and I agree with Hunter. I prefer Midsommar over Hereditary by miles. But I'm gonna
by
be
miles.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the one to vote for Under the Shadows because I think we need more Iranian horror movies.
Hunter, please kick yourself and Steve out of the chat here.
I didn't say by a mile.
I'll say it by miles.
Anyways, yeah. So please check out Under the Shadow because it is definitely an underseen movie, I think. But Midsommar moves on.
Carrie?
Carrie did not talk yet.
Yeah.
Wow.
You.
Put that back.
Sorry.
We're on the same. Oh my god, I might have to step away anyways.
Quickly, Midsommar.
Midsommar.
All right, we'll get her thoughts after this. But we're moving on to the next matchup, which is It Chapter 2 versus You're Next. Interesting matchup here. And that's actually the last matchup of initial matchup of the bracket. So we're starting at the top with Hunter on this one.
Okay. This is hard because I love both films, but to me, the better made film is You're Next. I think It Chapter 2 is a really good continuation of the original 2017 It. Now, if we had the 2017's It in this, it would have been harder. But I think It Chapter 2 does a few small things that just, like character-wise makes no sense to me. I think You're Next is a great, home invasion, kind of movie with a badass, female lead. So I got to go with You're Next. John?
Only one of these posters is on my wall. Oh, hey, You're Next. You're Next is I think in the pantheon of movies, is You're Next a fantastic top 10 movie? No. But the crew on this movie, like Adam Wingard, Ty West, Joe Swanberg, AJ Bowen.
Ty West was in
Yeah.
this film, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
he's the
Robert
boyfriend. He's
Mhm.
Amy Semet's boyfriend. Like all these people have made so many movies together in like different combinations that like Your Next had no choice but to be like a really great slasher movie. And there were conventions that were played with in this movie. Like Your Next is special, and
Mhm.
it's a crew of seasoned horror veterans giving you like a love letter to slasher movies. So I think this isn't like an unfair comparison because it is Stephen King, but like
Yeah.
Your Next is there's work put into Your Next. The work was done and you just interpreted it. Your Next is an original concept and they put work in. I go with Your Next.
All right, Steve.
The fact that I have a Rucking Fountain shirt of Your Next tells you where my allegiance lies, and the fact that I also interviewed Sharni Vincent for the press day for Your Next. Come on. Also, like, dude, like freaking AJ Bowen, Simon Barrett was one of the
Mhm.
killers. Freaking Barbara Crampton,
Yeah.
Crampton, Scream horror queen. That's not Jamie Lee Curtis. Just so many people involved, and we can't also forget Adam Wingard, who also delivered a fantastic movie in The Guest.
Mhm.
Just those two back to back. Your Next and The Guest. Love it. I own both those movies. I would watch Your Next and The Guest on television anytime over it part 1 or part 2. So Your Next.
Okay, Carrie, are you ready or no? Okay. So it's 3 Your Next so far?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Carrie, did you want to talk about Midsommar or would you just want to go into this?
I'll just go into this.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. That's going to be Your Next. Chapter 2, I think, what was not anywhere near as strong as the first one, and Your Next is it is so fantastic. Like it's fun. It's like the type of gore that's like, I don't know, just fun to watch, and really fantastic movie.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement. I think Your Next is the better made film. I also agree. I thought of including The Guest on here, and then I was like, I don't know. Maybe it no one picked it, and then I was like, maybe it's more of into thriller territory. But it's also
I thought about putting it on my list.
It's
too,
also
yeah.
a very great movie. But Your Next is a great Adam Wingard representation because I think it's incredible. It Chapter 2 is one of those things where it's just like the 90s miniseries. It's like the kid one everyone loves, and then the adult part is either you hate it or it's just okay. And I think that this one, even though they had some kid stuff in it, like you just can't really compete with the book that had it all blended so perfectly. So when you have such a phenomenal first movie in it,
Yes.
that I just loved and thought was so scary, that the second one just kind of pales. Even though there's some good stuff, I like some of the stuff they included from the book. But Your Next is incredible. I love, when it's kind of like a predecessor to Ready or Not and stuff like that, where you have the female protagonist who is caught up in a situation and then she ends up, being kind of a badass and just, oh man, some of the kills are incredible. And just like the situation was like really fun and crazy. So I just remember Your Next being way better than I thought it was going to be. And then, I also love The Guest. So Your Next for sure. And it looks like that's moving on unanimously. So we'll move that
Funny
on.
enough,
and now
I watched Your Next and Ready or Not back to back. So fun to do those back to back.
Yeah.
Do that, and then maybe like The Descent or something like that would be another. Yeah.
No.
Cool. So, preventing a cat fight. All right. So now we're moving on to the next, and we're on to the second round of matchup. So we have Anna and the Apocalypse versus Get Out.
Yeah, this is this is unfair.
Is this one tough or not? I think we're starting with John here.
It's Get Out. Like I said, I haven't seen Ant and the Apocalypse. It's definitely on my list to watch. And like I have a list that's in a set order that I will not push anything down. They're in the order they're in. I will get to it, I promise. Get Out, however, like everybody has said earlier, this is like an Oscar-nominated film. Daniel Kaluuya is fantastic. Allison Williams is fantastic. Freaking Bradley Whitford is fantastic. Everybody in this movie is fantastic.
Everybody.
Like every single performance. Stephen Root is fantastic. Like every single freaking character in this movie, it brings it, kills it. Jordan Peele has something there's something special about Jordan Peele as a director that, like, I don't know if he just if it's like a one take thing or if he just does 100 takes or whatever, but like he puts together the conglomerate of the performances he gets out of the actors in that movie. Like every single movie he does, like they're all freaking great. Like from Daniel Kaluuya in this film to even Stephen Yeun in Nope. Like everything you see, like he demands perfection.
Perfection,
and
yeah.
You get that and Get Out.
Perfect. Steve?
I mean, if you don't pick Get Out, then just Get Out. No, all kidding aside, I mean, I'm not going to be like that, but this is a juggernaut. We might have another jug on the other side, which I have a feeling might be a certain Ari Aster film from the other side coming over there to the finals.
Oh my God, that finals, if it happens.
If that happens, but I'm going for Get Out. I think Get Out's going to win it all the way, in my opinion. That's my pick, so I'm going to have it push it all the way. So Get Out.
Cool. Carrie?
Get Out.
Yeah, and in the Apocalypse, if you haven't seen it, it's a fun movie. A lot of people love it, but yeah, it's nowhere near as Get Out is, and very few movies are. I really think Get Out should have won Best Picture. Hunter?
Yeah, on to me. This sucks because I do love Ant and the Apocalypse so much, but yeah, the better made film is Get Out.
All right, so we're moving on to the next matchup of the second tier. We have Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark versus Don't Breathe.
Ooh.
And we're starting with Steve.
I interviewed Fede Alvarez. Don't Breathe.
Carrie.
Don't Breathe.
Oh. Well, because Scary Stories is kind of an anthology, but not really, because you focus on the thing, and then Don't Breathe is a very confined. Oh. Yeah, I'll say Don't Breathe. I'll agree with that. Hunter.
I technically probably would have gone with Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, only because, as I said, it's a melting pot of all subgenres of horror, and it's a great gateway for people. Like you. Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yes, and
you would not want to show like a new horror fan Don't Breathe because you would not make them a fan. Scary Stories is one that's a great introduction.
Absolutely. John.
I'm a Don't Breathe guy in this situation. You're right. Scary Stories is a kind of almost an anthology, but it's not really an anthology because all the stories are like they're kind of, there's a main story and they'll just kind of branch off of their individual fate. Yeah. So I don't really consider it an anthology purely. And Don't Breathe is it's freaking brutal. And going back to Chad's point in the original round, like I wish they didn't make Don't Breathe 2 because then you have to root for the rapist. And I'm not down with it. But yeah, Don't Breathe by itself is great. Don't Breathe.
Absolutely, yes.
I'm fine with that too. Don't Breathe is great.
All right, moving on, and we have Us versus Tucker and Dale versus Evil. This one's tough.
All right, on to me.
Carrie first.
Oh, Carrie, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Us.
I'm gonna go Tucker and Dale on this one, actually.
Wow. For me, I gotta go with Us. I just think it's got everything. It's got great horror, comedy, acting, everything.
All right. How are these people voting against Alan Tudyk? All right, John.
I know, right?
I hate to vote against Alan Tudyk, but like when you talk about like a horror comedy versus like a horror movie, and they're both like really good, I have to go for the horror movie, and it's also Jordan Peele versus Alan Tudyk. So
true.
Jordan Peele, I think, to the genre is more important. Whereas Alan Tudyk he's an everyman. He's an all-arounder. He's a comedic guy. He's a dramatic guy. He's a horror guy. Jordan Peele has showed us that he is daddy. We're gonna go Jordan Peele.
Nice, Steve.
Yeah, I would have voted for Us because I mean, you were talking about the Alan Tudyk vote. Like you could put Alan Tudyk in any movie. genres, sci-fi, comedy, romance, whatever. We need Jordan Peele in horror. We need him. We don't need Alan Tudyk in horror. We need more Jordan Peels than Alan Tudyks.
We need Alan Tudyk in a Jordan Peele movie.
Oh my God, that's gonna
be
mind blown.
All right, moving on. Green Room versus Creep. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, it's starting with me. All right. I love both of these movies. Actually, I think they're both so well done. I'll go Green Room because I'm very partial to Jeremy Saulnier is directing and making Blair and all that stuff. And I just think it's so incredible. So Green Room. Hunter.
Yeah, I gotta go with the one I've actually seen. So Green Room.
John.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say it again. Patrick Stewart's performance in Green Room, I'll put that up against Mark Duplass and Creep. 10 out of 10 times, Patrick Stewart is creepier than the guy who's the creep in the movie Creep.
Sure. Yep. Definitely. Steve.
Nazis fuck off. Green Room.
All right. Green Room moving on. Are we at the end? Yes. All right. Let's go to the other side where we have.
Did Carrie vote for the last one?
Oh, I would have said Green Room.
I keep doing this. I'm so sorry.
Maybe when we go to you or Carrie, you guys should just share your thoughts instead of doing like, I think
it's fine. We're almost
done. You had like a pair,
It's fine. We're almost done.
Whole pair.
Carrie voted Green Room.
Yes,
okay.
It was sweet.
Yep. All right. So the Witch or the Vivitch versus Revenge. Hunter at the top.
Again, I have to go with the one I've seen. I probably would have gone with The Witch anyway. I just think it's a beautifully made film.
All right, John.
This is tough. Only one of these movies has blood drops falling on ants with the sound of gunfire, and that's Revenge. So I'm gonna go with Revenge.
Oh,
Steve.
I'm gonna go with the one I've seen, and I'm gonna plan to see Revenge. But with what I already seen, I'm going with the Witch. The Witch.
Carrie?
I'm going with the Witch here.
Yeah, I would also go with the Witch, even though I think Revenge is also very incredible. But I think the Witch is the better like horror film or whatever. So, yeah, the Witch. Moving on. The next matchup is A Quiet Place versus The Invitation. And we're going to John.
This is tough. But honestly, I think we need more Karen Kusama in our lives in general. I got to go with The Invitation.
Oh.
All right. Steve.
I'm going with A Quiet Place because I only seen that movie. Again, unlike like Revenge, I haven't seen it yet. Going to watch it based on John's behest.
Nice. Carrie.
I'm gonna go with A Quiet Place here.
Yeah, I'm also going A Quiet Place. I just think it's like very, very well made, incredible, and it's verging on like it could actually become like if they make. I know they're making a series or whatever, but if they make like A Quiet Place 3, it could be one of the greatest like horror trilogies, which don't see that like ever. So very excited for that potentially to happen. But The Invitation is also incredible. But I go The Quiet Place. Hunter.
Yeah, also A Quiet Place because I've never seen The Invitation. So
By the way, A Quiet Place Day 1, March 8th, 2024.
Ooh, nice.
This is taking place on the first day that these creatures come up.
That's right. That's right.
That's awesome.
All right, next matchup. The Babadook or the Badabook versus Upgrade. And we're starting with Steve.
Very different films.
Very
Guys.
different.
Pride Month, Babadook.
Yeah. The Babadook.
Yeah, the Babadook's one of my favorite horror movies ever. Babadook. Hunter.
I would have gone Upgrade. I just think I enjoy that movie a bit more than Babadook, but Babadook is a fantastic film.
Nice. John.
I don't know how long the Babadook's going to coast on this Pride Month thing, but right now the Babadook's winning. It's definitely better than
We'll coast on it for this entire month.
I think it's cool that it's like a gay icon thing, but that's not why I voted for it. However, yeah. Yeah. The Babadook. Next matchup is Midsommar versus your next. Carrie,
Midsummer.
you're next. I think I'm in the minority here,
Yeah.
but Hunter,
The beautifully made Midsommar.
John.
Yeah, I hate to do it to your next, but Midsommar is like it's crazy good. Watch it again, Chad.
10 out of 10 for me.
It's not going to be 10 out of 10, but I will. Steve.
I'm gonna join you in the year next camp because one, I interviewed the lead actress, so I'm gonna be biased on that. But Midsommar does definitely deserve to move on for that. But yeah.
All right, so your next move at Psych. Midsommar moves on.
Yay.
It's like I have the controls.
I have all the control.
All right. Is that the end of the bracket? Yes, it
Yeah.
is. All right. So now we're going to round 3. All right, and we have Get Out versus Don't Breathe. Let me go ahead and boom. And we're starting with me.
Mm-hmm.
Get Out. I mean, it's a masterpiece. It's one of the best movies ever made. Should have won Best Picture. Get Out. Hunter.
This one's actually tougher for me, but yeah, Get Out is, again, a 10 out of 10 film for me.
John.
Yeah, Don't Breathe has that great turkey baster scene, but but Get Out has bocce balls, and bocce balls are way cooler. So Get Out.
Steve.
All right, despite me interviewing Fede Alvarez, I do not own Don't Breathe. So the fact that I own Get Out shows you that I will favor Get Out.
I did not forget this time. Carrie.
Get Out.
All right. Do you want me to? Oh.
Yeah, Get Out.
Get
Get
Out.
Out.
All right. The next matchup we have Us versus Green Room. All right. Hunter.
I gotta go with the one I've watched more often, and that's Us. I think it's a great blend of comedy, a great slasher from Jordan Peele, and it's Jordan Peele. So, Us.
Perfect. John.
This is pretty tough.
It is.
Green Room is just entirely like real and brutal. I gotta go with just the straight up brutality of Green Room trumps Us. I'm Green Room on this one.
Steve?
Ooh, nice. Steve.
Oh my god.
And I'm gonna go with Green Room because we already got a Jordan Peele movie, so I want to go with Green Room.
Wow. All right. Carrie?
Us.
It's 2-2. Chad, you gotta break the tie.
I'm gonna break the tie with Green Room.
Hey!
I like when shit like that happens because
That's cool.
I'm like, yeah, I think they're both very well made movies, and
Kind of hoping for
Yeah.
Jordan Peele versus Jordan Peele.
Yeah,
that
that's
would have been
what I was
funny.
Yeah.
but you know what? Get Out would have won that easily, I think, anyways. And Steve made a good point. We already have a Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
Green Room is not like it's like a pity vote. A lot of us really love that movie.
Oh yeah.
The next match
It's a great film.
is the Vivitch versus A Quiet Place.
Whew.
It's a tough one. Are we at John?
John. These get harder and harder every round.
I mean, just the fact that A Quiet Place Part 2 doesn't suck. I mean, the universe that John Krasinski built here is actually like really, really cool. I gotta go with The Quiet Place.
Steve?
I'm going with the Vivitch.
Carrie.
I don't know what to do here because one makes me cry, but I really love The Witch too. Oh man.
Very tough matchup.
I'm gonna go with The
One.
Quiet Place.
Oh, I did not expect that. I'm also going A Quiet Place. Hunter.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, I would have gone with The Witch just slightly over A Quiet Place.
All right. And I wouldn't have blamed you for doing that because
Usually,
it's
if
great.
one movie makes me cry, I'm gonna go with the movie.
That
Fair.
makes sense. That's what
I don't know why.
movies are for
It's so
sometimes.
hard.
You cry, you gave Carrie's instant seal of approval.
I mean, it shows that a film is really hitting you.
The next matchup is the Babadook or the Babadook versus
The Babadook.
Midsommar.
Oh,
And we're starting with Steve.
No, we're chats.
Pride Month, Steve.
I'm not going against it. Pride Month, Babadook.
Ooh.
Carrie.
Carrie.
Midsummer.
The Babadook is one of my favorite movies of all time. The Babadook.
10 out of 10 movie, Midsommar, baby. Let's go.
Hunter loves to piss me off. John.
I'm gonna break this tie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's be very, 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 very clear. Way more effort went into Midsommar.
Yeah.
Right, moving on Midsommar, and is that
Begrudgingly.
that's the end of that one? We're down to the core four. as
Core
we
four,
said.
baby.
Core baby.
Core four. All right.
What a
so
final four.
I know this
Yeah.
is. I would not have picked these necessarily to
Holy shit.
be the 4-4. Well, Get Out, definitely, but I wasn't
Yeah,
sure.
and Midsommar would definitely.
Yeah, Get Out and Midsommar, I could see in the final four, but
Yeah.
Green
all
Room
right.
and A Quiet Place are great films too.
Yep. All right. So on the left side, we're going Get Out versus Green Room, and I think we're starting with Carrie.
Carrie,
Get out.
Get Out.
Get Out.
John.
Yeah, this is the end of Green Room's reign of terror. I think Get Out is superior. Green Room's fantastic, but Get Out superior in every way.
Steve.
The Cinderella story has come to an end for Green Room. Get Out moves on.
Right. Quiet Place versus Midsommar. I would go with A Quiet Place. I don't think anyone else will.
Carrie?
Hunter.
Hunter, yeah.
Yes. 10 out of 10, Midsommar.
John.
Ari Aster's just getting started. Midsommar.
Steve.
9 out of 10. Midsommar.
Carrie.
Midsommar.
Midsommar
Yeah.
is going forward, and now we have the two,
God
which
damn it.
the last one had another Ari Aster in the top two.
Yeah, it did.
And this is another one with Midsommar in the top two. It's very exciting. Although it was Ari Aster versus Mike Flanagan. Now it's Ari Aster versus Jordan Peele. Let's go through this, and starting with Hunter, the top.
God damn it. Both are 10 out of 10 films. I gotta go with the one I've seen a lot more. Midsommar. Come on.
Wow.
Let's get the win.
John.
Yo, just the scene when Florence Pugh is sitting there and the flowers are breathing like all around her is. I'm not gonna say it's better than anything in Get Out, but nothing in Get Out touches it. Midsommar.
Well, all of Get Out touches Midsommar, overcomes Midsommar. Get Out, masterpiece, 10 out of 10. Midsommar is 9 out of 10. What do you think?
Gary.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Ari Aster is always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Here, I'm going with Get Out.
Wow.
That's true.
sad,
This is
but
the last
true.
one. Yeah, easily Get Out here. I don't think Midsommar comes close to Get Out.
Wow.
No fucking way. Are you kidding me? Get Out, Best Picture nominated.
Both films are 10 out of 10.
Yes.
Wins. No,
These
no.
So deserve to be the top two. I
But
think.
Get Out wins our bracket. Yeah.
Wait a second. Hold on a second. I
What?
thought didn't Carrie voted for Midsommar, didn't she?
No, I vote no.
No.
Oh, okay, my bad. The way you interpret it, I thought you wanted Ari Aster.
Never the bridesmaid,
Oh,
always
I
the.
was saying it was second. Yeah,
Yeah.
always second.
My bad.
Which
I was like,
I thought she might go for Midsommar, but then I was
Yeah, I
like,
thought
I
so
know
too,
Carrie
like,
would go with
please.
Get Out. So.
Please.
So, no,
I'll tell
but
you what,
I
though,
love.
If we're doing Doctor Sleep versus any of these movies, like I would vote Doctor Sleep over Get Out, but Midsommar over Doctor Sleep. That's just me.
Interesting.
Oh,
Well, in
interesting.
I can
fact,
see that for sure.
in fact, I don't have a visual of it, but that's exactly what we're doing right now. Is we
Yep.
are starting, and John already gave his vote. He voted Get Out over Doctor Sleep. No, Doctor
No,
Sleep over Get Out.
Doctor Sleep over Get Out.
Yeah.
All right, and now we have Steve, Doctor Sleep or Get Out.
This is a movie that I've seen like a whole bunch of times more than I've seen. Listen, Doctor Sleep is a fantastic movie. I saw Mike Flanagan directed the shit out of this movie, and it has a great villain, great lead actor, and a great new coming actress at that time. But I'm sorry, the zeitgeist belongs to Get Out on this one here.
Carrie.
Yeah, I mean, I said it, I think when we did our last stream, that I think Doctor Sleep is currently my favorite horror movie. I'm not saying it's necessarily the best. I don't think it's necessarily the best horror movie, but it's my favorite currently. It is incredibly difficult because I think these I wish they could tie, but I
Yeah.
think I'll go with Doctor Sleep.
Chad.
So we're Doctor Sleep, Get Out, and Doctor Sleep.
So it's 2 for Doctor Sleep, 1 for Get Out, right?
Yeah. This is actually very tough because I don't know. Like personally, Doctor Sleep just I think he did the impossible in bringing like the books and the movie all together, and kind of like I think Kubrick would have been pleased, and King would it was pleased with the film, and the audience was pleased, even though not a lot of people saw it. I think it is one of those that when people discover it, they're like, "This is a freaking great movie." And the director's cut is even better. 3 hours long horror movie.
I need to watch the director's cut.
Director's cut's great.
Yeah, it's perfect. And God, but Get Out is such a masterpiece. Should have won Best Picture. These are 2 top tier. It makes sense that these are the 2 we're fighting for in the two halves of the bracket. I feel wrong voting against either of these. I will go with Doctor Sleep, Get Out, Doctor Sleep.
You could make Hunter choose.
Make Hunter choose. Come on.
I'm gonna go Doctor Sleep.
Man.
What would you said, Hunter?
It's very hard because I do love both films, but considering The Shining is one of my favorite movies of all time, and Doctor Sleep was able to not only combine that but the book and give Danny Torrance a great character piece, it's got to be Doctor Sleep, man. I think it was one of the best films of the 2010s.
I would not have expected that to almost be unanimously Doctor Sleep against Get Out, because that's such a juggernaut.
But again, both films are masterpieces.
Yeah.
Like we're not saying that Get Out is bad at all. It's just
And I did say that if Midsommar won, I would have voted that over Doctor Sleep. So it's just differences of opinion.
Yeah.
For sure. Cool. So there you have it. Thank you to our guests. Doctor Sleep won our big 2010s thing. I'll have to create like a visual once we go through.
Hey, can we make a trophy and send it to Mike Flanagan and hope he gets it?
That would be amazing.
He opens it. He's like, "What the fuck is this?" And then it's like a plaque saying, "Congratulations on being the best film of 2010s for Doctor Sleep from the Welcome to Primetime team."
If we can do that, that'll be amazing.
It's actually really cool because it feels like Jordan Peele and Mike Flanagan are both very in touch with like being appreciative of their fans and outreach and stuff like that.
I mean, hell, both of them showed up to like the Fangoria Awards just to accept their awards. Like they're in touch with their audience, which is very cool.
Absolutely. I think Mike Flanagan would probably answer you on Twitter if you said something to him. So
more than likely.
You should do a thing, tag them with the Twitter handle, tag them, say congratulations, Mike Flanagan, for winning for your film.
You know what? I'm doing that.
All right. Sounds good. Cool. Hunter, do you want to close out the show?
All right, guys. Thank you to our guests. What a hell of a bracket for the 2010s. I can't wait for the 2000s bracket. That's going to be so much fun. But if you guys did enjoy this, hit that like button, subscribe to Nerd Entertainment Network down below. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys soon.
Peace. Bye.